Welcome to Bloodbath and Beyond. Today we review KILD TV, Broadcast or Die.
KILD TV, KILD TV was written by Channing Whitaker, directed by William Collins, starring DC Douglas, Astrea Campbell-Cobb, and Grace Johnston. This film is a murder mystery about a late-night horror TV host who's broadcasting, and people around the station start to get murdered. So they have to figure out who the murderer is. So what do we like?
The story of this film was really interesting because it had different aspects of the whodunit genre. It keeps you guessing from beginning right to the end. They have little tiny clues, but they don't give enough away that you're gonna be like, oh wait, this is the killer. The red herring effect was executed perfectly because it keeps you on the edge of your seat trying to figure out who it is. And they do it in an entertaining fashion because it has some very colorful characters.
We complain sometimes when we can guess the ending of a movie right away. And in this movie, thankfully, we did not. And I don't think many people will. So kudos to that. Speaking of the colorful characters, we had a great range of both character types and acting, unfortunately. We'll get to that. Some standouts would definitely be Jared Durek, who played our comic relief character. Grace Johnston did a great job as well. And our main lead, who was the horror host, DC Douglas. He was very convincing. He definitely had like an old school feel to him.
And he was smart throughout the entire film, and that's what I liked about it.
I think a lot of the characters were smart. I mean, yeah, they paired off and they needed to get separated so that we could have more kills throughout the film, which looked great, by the way. But people were pretty smart about how they like moved around the studio, what they needed to do when they got into certain rooms. Like, they knew the studio because they worked in the studio, so nobody really felt that out of place.
A lot of these films break the realm of reality when you're sitting like, oh, why don't they just use their cell phone? Or they're at a TV station, why aren't they just broadcasting what's going on? And I felt this film covered up all their tracks in showing that they were trapped and they couldn't get help. Like, there wasn't anything beyond the realm of reality where this couldn't actually happen in a TV station.
And considering that this did take place in a TV station, and we've kind of talked about our plan for a film if we ever did one taking place in a TV station, the kills were innovative and they were gory when they happened. And, you know, it's just a neat aspect to play with because there's so much stuff that can happen in a TV news station. You got boom mics, you got lights, you got cameras, you got all types of different aspects to play with, and I think they did a pretty decent job.
A surprising aspect to this film was the nudity. Did not see the gratuitous nudity coming in this style of film, and we got it.
Yeah, we got a couple different like scenes. So we have topless women, we have a couple lesbian scenes. Yeah, a couple lesbian scenes. So that's always good. And for the ladies, we do have like an Italian hunk that isn't John walking around in a Speedo. And if you're a T-Swift fan, then they got you covered there because Astrea Campbell-Cobb looked very much like Taylor Swift. And now, considering this was an indie film, the production value was extremely high. This seemed like it had a very large budget. I'm not too sure what it was, but it was shot really well, it was lit really well, it sounded great, and you wouldn't think that this was a low budget film. All right, now let's move on to our dislikes.
Now, we had high praise with some of the acting in this film. On the other end, there was some characters that the acting wasn't so strong, and it made their characters not very likable whatsoever. And I felt that we had really good characters that we liked. Then there was like the background characters.
It was pretty heavy-handed. It's like they had 3 characters that they focus all of their character development on and didn't develop any of the other ones. And that's strange, including like not giving some of them lines almost at all. The climax of this movie was the film's biggest downside. You're really curious as to who the killer is going to be. And the big reveal and final showdown and all of that was just really weak. We see some of the weaknesses in the actors involved that didn't seem as noticeable throughout the rest of the movie. They seemed like pretty solid actors until they had some monologues. It just wasn't convincing and it didn't sell me. Now it's time for our final thoughts and ratings.
I really enjoyed this film. It was a good whodunit that had me guessing from start to end. Though the grand reveal was a little weak, it didn't really take away from the overall film. The story was good. I really enjoyed the characters. It's awesome. It's a good guessing game film. It's just entertaining. So with that being said, I'm gonna give this 4 take a tip from Lucas and eat your fruits and veggies out of 5.
This is a pretty impressive indie film that is a really solid murder mystery. It's not often that we get to see a murder mystery that you can't guess a million miles away. We had smart characters, we had some pretty solid acting, and we had some boobs and gore. Unfortunately, I was taken back a bit by the ending because we had such a good build-up, and I really think it could have been tightened up to really have a more powerful ending. However, it's still worth a watch, and I think a lot of you will enjoy it. So I'm gonna give this 3.5 POV hair eating shots out of 5. As always, thank you for watching. I'm not gonna ask you to comment below with your favorite television movie.
Maybe a kill you would use in a TV studio.
Thanks for watching, and make sure you subscribe to the channel to stay updated with everything Bloodbath and beyond.